Hey guys, good morning. Sorry. Hey guys, good morning, everybody. Today is Tuesday, June 27th. It is 6:23 right now. Market's going to open in about 7 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and set up this room real quick and we'll get started shortly. It's got a couple of things here to update and we should be good to go. All right, let's go ahead. Good. All right, there we go. All right, so I'll get a few moments for people to make their way in. As you guys continue to make your way in, I'm going to go ahead and start marking up liquidity over here on our liquidity chart. So let me just start off with that. Hey, Johnny, morning. All right, I'm just marking up liquidity that's close to current price because I'm not expecting it to go too crazy today. There. Yeah. Yeah. 8 hour, let's go over to the 4 hour. It's probably gonna get messier when you get closer to the lower time frames, but we'll see. So there's a lot of liquidity here that I'm marking up, guys, but it's probably not established yet because it's like on the current candle. Volatility just died down a lot just very recently. So I mean, we'll see if I need to make some adjustments. We had some news this morning too at 5:30 and 6 o'clock. Speed this up a little bit. Go down to the 15. I'm just gonna mark up the actual levels now. Not actually gonna right time frame. It's kind of relevant at this point. It's a bunch of low level liquidity. No, I forgot what level below. I don't think I go down to the 5. You guys remember what level do I go down to? I totally forgot because every time I explain this to somebody, I was kind of or I've been going down to the 5 lately, 10. All right, sorry guys, yeah, but 5 is just too low. My bad. For some reason, I just blanked out there. I was explaining something to somebody else earlier this morning, and I totally forgot what level I go down to. All right, 10. All right, guys. So we got a liquidity marked up right there. As you can see, there's some low level liquidity up top, and there's a 4-hour liquidity down below. So that one might be. I mean, I probably prefer the bottom one. It's lower level. So we'll see. I mean, where price ends up going, I don't know where price will go when market opens here. Market is going to open in about a minute. Looking at overall bias, I think it is bearish right now with regard to the trend. So that's why I'm kind of leaning towards a sell anyways. But I mean, we'll see what happens in the, in the next couple of minutes or so. But yeah, 4-hour liquidity down there. I think maybe the higher levels also line up with it. Yeah. 30-minute too. So, I mean, we'll see where price ends up going. I don't want to like predict where price is going or anything like that. These top levels over here, if it does get to that point, probably not going to take it right away because you guys know how price usually moves once it gets up to those levels, usually a fake out. And then it'll probably come back for a retest. And then maybe at that point, I'll think about making entry. But for right now, on open, probably not. So market is opening in about 5 seconds. Price is starting to come back down actually. And there goes the opening bell. So it's kind of slow right now. It's picking up a little bit. Let's take a look at the sentiment. I think sentiment's pretty flat. It's 51% short. So sentiment's not going to be very useful to us here at all. It's not at any point where we can make it useful to us. Fundamentals here as well. It's pretty much flat. So not really too much for us to, we don't really have a bias today to put it simple. There's no fundamentals, retail sentiment's kind of flat. Liquidity there just got hit. Again, like I mentioned, guys, I'm not looking to take this right away. I don't know if anybody took it. It is running in profit right now. So if you guys took it for 100 pips, solid. But everything kind of pointed towards a sell today. That's why I'm not really looking. You can see right here, it's starting to fake out super heavily. Another reason why I wouldn't have taken that right there for a sell. I mean, for a buy, because it's just too risky. You can see right here, it's faking out. I mean, you could have probably taken it for a quick 100 pips, but I don't really want to take a risky trade like that. I'd rather wait for a more solid trade to come up. You can see right there, still playing through, but for the most part, the full move still has not completed. So if you guys take it for 100 pips, great. If you guys didn't, it's fine. I consider this a risky trade. So it's not one that I would personally take myself. I'd probably wait for it to fake out a bit. But at this point, it already blasted through the level of liquidity. So this level of liquidity is probably not going to be useful for you anymore because it already blasted through it. If anything, it hit some liquidity that was sitting up here, but it didn't necessarily push through all the way. So, I mean, we'll keep following it, but I'm not in this position. If you guys are in the position and price continues to move up higher, I'd recommend moving your stop loss and profit and probably trailing it. But yeah, at the moment, I didn't take it. So I'm not going to count this as a trade, of course. Only counting the trades that that I take personally. And this is one that I did not take. So even though it does hit, or even though it will probably hit, not going to count the trade. If you guys are still in it, again, as I mentioned, I do recommend moving your stop loss and profit. Yeah, you can see it's moving kind of iffy right here. So the thing with this morning, guys, another reason why I was a little more careful about this liquidity push is because there was news this morning. So looking over here at the 5:30 news, we had common CPI, inflation news year over year, core durable good orders month over month, durable good orders month over month. It was pretty much for the most part positive, except for common CPI. And that's why I was kind of iffy about it, because there's just a lot of uncertainty as where price will probably be going. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to go ahead and mark up that news price at 5:30 so that you guys have an idea And I'm just being cautious. Whenever it's a news day like this, I'm very cautious because a lot can happen. So, and there goes, price pushes back up higher. Another thing too that made me cautious, and I'm just going to keep giving you guys like little nuggets here, so that you guys can understand, why am I cautious? Another reason why I'm cautious is because there's no sentiment, right? Typically, like if we're looking for a buy or a sell, you typically want to trade opposite of everybody. So if you have liquidity on the opposite side of sentiment, then that'd be the direction that you're looking for. Right now, sentiment's not that strong. It's 52% short, so people are on both sides of the market. That's why these liquidity pushes aren't very strong. Typically, like in the past, sentiment would be around like 60%, 65, 70% around there. And whenever you get liquidity in the opposite direction, price could just blast right through it, right? Because a lot of the traders who are trading that direction would end up getting stopped out. So right now it's kind of hard for us to predict that because there's no sentiment. It's kind of sideways. Anyways, the liquidity push did hit right here on open. So if you guys took it, great. Again, as I mentioned, I'm not going to count this as a win because I didn't take the trade. I'm only counting the trades that I personally take myself as a win. Due to the heavy news this morning, I'm being a little more careful than usual because, I don't want to tell you guys to take something and then it loses. Obviously, I want to give you guys quality entries. There's another news event coming up over here at 7 o'clock, CB Consumer Confidence, new home sales, Richmond Manufacturing Index. And I'll be adding that over here at 7 o'clock. So, we'll see if it holds. We really just want price to have a direction right now because for the past day or past 2 days, actually, there hasn't really been much of a direction because there's no bias. We have news at 7 o'clock, and then, that's pretty much it for today. Let me check my FX book to see if there's anything else over here. Hey, Kenner, how's it going? Hey, Kenner, I saw your message. I just saw it right now. If you still want me to look over your setup, you can still send it to me now and I can still take a look at it. So if you want to send it to me now, Kenner, I can still take a look at it. It's just I was only able to see it right now for the market open. But yeah, if you want me to take a look at it, feel free. There wasn't much of a bias today aside for a sell. The retail sentiment was flat. Fundamentals are flat. The technicals over here were actually bearish. That's the reason why I didn't want to take the buy this morning because that's the only bias that we had. But there was news this morning that kind of affected price. So that's why price kind of pushed up a bit. So the news happened right here at 5:30. Since 5:30, you can see price went all the way up. So since 5:30 right here, price pretty much went all the way up, right? So this like push to the upside is basically just a continuation of the news push. So news happening at 5:30, price pushed up, retraced, and then it just kept continuing up higher from here. But I don't know if this will hold. So we'll see. Because the higher time frame is still bearish. So price might just come back down. Like you might get a rejection here on the 4 hour. You can see prices right at the pivots. You might get a rejection right there, and then it might just come all the way back down. So I would just be careful with taking any entries right now for either direction, buy or sell, because we need to wait for a confirmation whether price is going to keep pushing up or whether it's going to come down. You can see right here, price is rejecting, or now it's just keep pushing up higher. Let me check the calendar real quick, or the CNBC, to see if there's any breaking news. So there's not really too much breaking news. It's just right here. It says S&P rises slightly as investors await economic data and run up to month, quarter, and end live updates. So there's just a lot of news coming out today regarding inflation, and that's kind of what's pushing price right now. It's the news events. So this is fine. We want the initial push to happen, and then we'll wait for the continuation. If price continues to push in that direction, then great. We'll continue to ride the wave. But yeah, right now is just it's the time to be patient and just wait for some sort of direction. It's right here around this area where all the sessions are. So as you guys know, this is an area of manipulation. Price can easily just swing all the way back down. I'm going to go ahead and mark up opening price over here too, so that you guys have an idea. Where opening prices. Can't remember why I drew this line here. Let me check the calendar real quick. I don't think there was any other news event there. Yeah, there wasn't. Actually, 6 o'clock. There was more news at 6 o'clock. So there's news here at 5:30. There was news over here at 6 o'clock. And here's the opening candle right there. All right, so as you guys can see, price is extremely overextended where it's currently at. I don't really like where price is at right now because a lot can happen from this point. Price can either come back down or it'll just keep pushing up. From my experience, I think, well, price should come back down because it's way overextended. If you were to measure this, and you can't even fit the whole chart on your screen. So if you were to measure this from the bottom, from this low right here, price is pushed up over 2,000 pips. Typically, when it gets to that 1,000 pip mark, it should be coming down for retracement. So it's extremely overextended right here. So if you see a V1 variation for a sell, it's probably going to come down at least 100 pips because it's way overextended. So if you guys are looking for something speculative, I wouldn't necessarily say like it's a safe trade, but if you're looking for something speculative, you see a double body or a double wick on the top side off a high, it's probably going to come down at least 100 pips. And that's from my experience. I just, when the price passes over 1,000 pips, it's overextended. 2,000 pips, very overextended. So if you see a double a double body up top or a double wick, then it's probably going to come down at least 100 pips. So something to look out for. I'll mark it up if I see it. But again, as I mentioned, it's not going to be a safe trade. So I'm not going to tell you guys to take it. I'm probably, if I do take it, it'll probably be speculative, of course. But it just depends on how it looks. It is way overextended right now. Got news coming up right here at 7 o'clock. I think that's about it with the clean chart here. Marked up news, marked up opening price, marked up upcoming news. And I think that's it with this chart over here. I'm gonna go over here now and mark up. So I just realized that it hit liquidity up here. But even if it hit liquidity up here, I wouldn't have taken it. Price is way overextended, like I mentioned. Price pushed up 2,000 pips over here. So this level of liquidity, even though it's 8-hour liquidity, I still would have found it to be super, super risky. So I'm not sure if anybody caught that right there for the next level. Man, this market's kind of crazy this morning. Like I'm surprised there hasn't been any retracement. It just kept pushing up higher and higher and higher. And it is continuing to push. I think it's due for a retracement now, though. So we'll see where this ends up going. Here's a clean chart. I'm just gonna go ahead and clean this up so that you guys can see the range right here. For today, the range is like super far out. Oh, and there goes the V1 variation I was telling you guys about. I'm not in it, but as I said, I'd follow it for you guys. So it goes a V1 variation right there. So we'll follow it. I'm not in the position. Full TP right there, right? Boom. So easy as that, guys. If you guys wanted to take a speculative trade, I mentioned I was going to play out. Say if you saw a double body or a double wick for not necessarily a V1 variation because the overall bias is kind of mixed. There isn't even a bias right now at all. Even the trend bias is mixed. You can see over here, the higher time frames are kind of bearish still. The lower time frames are just crazy high. But yeah, that's the V1 variation. So, whenever price is super overextended, you can expect a V1 to hit. Even if it's not a V1 variation, just a V1 pattern like that, you can see the double body. Price pushed up 2,000 pips. It's going to come down. Like it has to come down. There's no way you just keep pushing up 2,000 pips, 3,000 pips, 4,000 pips with no retracement, right? And then right here's where the retracement happened. Johnny caught it right there for a full TP. Nice work, Johnny. Maddie caught it. Tyler says right at session, so I was wary and I smoothed up. Yeah, I agree too, Tyler. That's another reason why I was a bit iffy about taking it, because this whole area is an area of manipulation. Rashida caught it too. Nice work, guys. So these are the little things that I'm telling you guys, right? Like I'm going to give you guys little hints here and there. I'll tell you if it's a risky trade or not. If you guys want to take it, great. If I don't feel comfortable about it, I'm not going to take it. But I do know it. I have an idea that price is probably going to do something. So whenever I have an idea, I'll let you guys know. I'll give you guys as many opportunities as possible. But it's really up to you if you guys want to take it. For me personally, I'm not in that position to really take anything super risky because I don't like losing trades. Like if I was to take this trade here and I lost it, I'd be bummed out for the entire session, right? And then I wouldn't even want to trade for the rest of the session. So, in order for me to just give you guys basically setups, but not necessarily take them because I think they're risky, I'll tell you guys where I think they're going to come up. So, nice work, guys. Yeah, Angela caught it, Rashida caught it, CJ caught it, Slava caught it. Slava said he's still holding. You probably shouldn't hold Slava because you're going against the trend. The trend's very bullish right now. So I wouldn't necessarily hold this for an extended period. These small scalps here are meant to just in and out. I mean, if you want to hold it, again, that's on you. If you have an idea that price will continue dropping, then continue to hold it. But for me personally, I think that's a horrible idea in my opinion, because price is very bullish right now, and I wouldn't necessarily go against the bullish push. But I mean, if you have a setup in your mind, or you already have something set up, like you've marked it up and price is going to come down, then go ahead and hold on to it. But for me personally, I wouldn't hold on to something like that unless I had some sort of confluence or some sort of strategy that was indicating that this was going to be the top. Because I think price will keep pushing up. I don't necessarily think it's going to like drop. It's not going to correct back down to open just yet. Maybe at some point, but not right now specifically. So here's the thing: price might consolidate here for a while, and this is what I kind of see happening. Because you could be right, Slava. You could be right. Don't let me scare you out of your position. Price is going to consolidate here for a bit. One of two things is going to happen. Price is going to break below and come down to open, or it's going to keep pushing up and stop you out, right? So when you have a scenario like this, you have a 50-50% chance, right? 50-50% chance whether it's going to go in your direction or go against you. For me personally, I don't like to take that chance. I want to have something higher. I want at least a 70-80% chance that price is going to come back down or it's going to go back up. Right now, we don't really have a confluence because sentiment here is pretty much flat. It's starting to pick up a little more though. It's 56% short, but it's still pretty flat. And the fundamentals over here are currently bullish, 100 points. So they're pretty mixed. This is indicating to take buys. This is indicating to take sells. Trend over here is kind of all over the place, so it's kind of hard to tell. But I mean, we'll see where this ends up going. And we'll follow through and hopefully it goes in your direction, Slava. Other than that, let's see. CJ said caught it. Thanks, Sean. Definitely. Angela caught it. Rashida said she took the V1 because it was setting up on the 5 and 10 as well. Perfect. Kenneth caught it for a partial. Rick said he got filled late, got stuck, got out at -49. That's fine. -49 is better than nothing. I mean, it's better than a full loss, Rick. So you're good. Gotcha. Okay, so Slava said he's on a new challenge and already in good profit, so he can risk it. Perfect. No, that's fine. And everybody's price comes down. So you guys can see the markup that I had earlier. Price went sideways, and I said price can go either direction, right, down or up, and it decided to come back down. So yeah, just make sure when you guys take an entry that you have an analysis behind it. I'm sure Slava had an idea that price was going to come down. He had some type of markup. He knew price was going to move that direction. So he was able to do something like that. But what I'm trying to get across to certain people in the group is that, always have a plan. Have a plan to get in the trade, have a plan to get out of the trade. That's the key thing. I feel like a lot of people enter trades and don't have a plan, and then they just go into panic mode when the trade doesn't go in their direction. So, but price is very overextended, and it was due for the retracement. There it is. Retracement is now playing through. So here's a clean chart. As you guys can see, huge push to the upside. Price should be coming down, but I mean, we'll see where it ends up going from here. Kaner said he got in late, but he still got it. Nice work, Kaner. So here's some profits over here. Guys, if anybody messages you in the group, just remember that it's a scammer. I'll never message you first. So Kay over here just Yeah, she said that he tried to call her. Yeah, guys. So one thing that you guys can do, I mean, it's not going to, there's always going to be scammers out there, but the one thing that you can do to prevent yourself from getting scammed is go into your settings and change your privacy settings so that these scammers can't contact you. Right, that's the main thing. Because if you do that, they'll keep adding you to groups, or they'll message you, or they'll try to call you. You'll always see that something's wrong here. Like Kodi trades, there's two eyes right there. So just an FYI, guys. Here's Kenny for the day. Kenny locked in a total profit of 3,550 for the day. Nice work, Kenny. All wins. If you guys have profit to send in, feel free to send them in. Otherwise, we will continue analyzing to see what's going on throughout the session. We got Casey over here, total profit of 283 for the day. All wins as well. Let's see, we've got Kenny here, 3,550. We have Johnny here, total profit of 435 for the day. All wins as well. Nice work, Johnny. We got Natasha over here, total profit of 376 for the day. All wins. And we have Natasha's second account, total profit of 544 for the day. All wins as well. Nice work, Natasha. Other than that, Kenny here, 3,000. Let's see, Keener's message there. I'll check your question right now, Casey. Give me 1 second to just reanalyze the market, see where we're at. I think I had a question regarding the breakout strategy, so we'll take a look at that shortly too. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and clean this up a little bit. All right, so the next level of liquidity is going to be down here, 4 hour, and the next level for liquidity up top is going to be right there, low level liquidities. They're all going to be red. So we'll see if we can find something here, but it looks like the main thing that we can possibly look for would be some V1 variations, but we're going to have to look and see if there's going to be any bias, because we need an overall bias in order for us to take V1 variations. So I'm going to go ahead and mark up where the overall bias is for today. So today's overall bias right here. Retail sentiment, fundamental bias, short-term technical bias, long-term technical bias. All right, so retail sentiment is, I'm going to say neutral right now, because it's not really in any direction. We typically want it to be above or below 60 to 65%. So this is going to be about 56% short. So it's pretty much neutral. The fundamental bias right now is going to be neutral as well, because I believe it's like at about 12 plus 80 points. We need it to be above or below 100 points. Short-term technicals, we'll take a look at that. So short-term technicals over here are neutral right now. You can see price was bearish earlier, like a few minutes ago, and then price just had that random spike up early in the session. Price is now coming right back down. So we're just going to say neutral for short-term technicals. And long-term technicals, we're going to see over here, price is still bearish, so it's more of a bearish neutral. The 4 hour is bearish because price is below the pivots, trend meter is red. 1 hour over here is neutral because price is in between the pivots are going sideways, and the trend meter down below is blue. Same with the 30-minute over here, price is attempting to make its way back down in between the pivots, trend meter is blue, and the pivots are going sideways. So with that said, I mean, it's pretty much neutral all around. There's not really much of a bias. We'll put bearish neutral here. And as you guys can see, there's no bias. So in order for us to take a V1 variation, we need to have an overall bias, right? Which we don't have yet. So until we get an overall bias, there's not going to be any V1 variation entries to take. So, going back to what we were talking about a couple of weeks ago, like we were using the high level momentum scalp and it was working fine until entries just stopped coming. Like, I mean, they were coming up, but they weren't coming up as often. So we switched back to the V1 variation. The reason why we switched from the V1 variation last time was because there was no sentiment. I mean, there was no bias, right? So we're back here again and there's no bias, but this is fine. So this doesn't happen very often. This will have like maybe, maybe a few days stint, like maybe today might be flat and then tomorrow might pick back up, or the day after that will pick back up. So the thing with this is that you guys just have to stay consistent with the strategy that you're applying. So right now we're going to stick to the V1 variations. There's no overall bias. There's no entry we can take. First requirement for this specific strategy is confirm overall bias, which we already did. And there's no overall bias right now. So just be patient, guys. The trades will come, but there's just nothing for us to take right now specifically. Let's see, Maddie said 7 o'clock looks nice. Yeah, I wouldn't take the 7 o'clock one, Maddie, because I think it's like high impact news too. Yeah, it's CB consumer confidence. I wouldn't trade around that time. Oh yeah, so it doesn't line up with the trend either. All right, so we got news over here at 7 o'clock. Hopefully this news will push price in a direction, but I mean, we'll see what happens. Price is just correcting back down from that big push earlier this morning. So it's really just going to be a matter of patience here. It's profits over here from Slava. Nice work, Slava. So Slava over here looks like his first couple sells had some small losses, and then he came right back and he held on to it, made it right back. So nice work right here, Slava. Current profit of 4,046 for the day. So great work right there. Nice profits. But yeah, no, it's good to see a lot of you guys take that V1 variation up here, guys. It wasn't necessarily a V1 variation, but it was a V1 pattern. The reason for it not being an actual V1 variation is because there was no overall bias. If we had an overall bias for a sell, it'd be a solid entry. But since there wasn't, it was just a reversal pattern that we identified after a long push in one direction. That's something that I've started to like look at as well. So I kind of this is actually what I was doing pre-market. So that's why I got on a little late, because I was looking at the market. Typically, if you see price push up at least 1,000 pips and you get a V1 pattern, not necessarily a V1 variation, but you get a V1 pattern, it's typically going to come back down. So for example, here, see how I marked this up at 1,000 pips. So from this point right here, I would look for a double body or double wick, right? Look for a V1 pattern. Usually you want to trade in the direction of your bias, but we didn't have a bias today, but price was overextended, right? There's nothing over here. So at this point, you're just looking for a double body or double wick. This didn't happen until this point right here. And that's where you would have taken the trade right there for a V1. And obviously you can see full TP right there. So I was just kind of playing with the charts earlier, and that's what I was looking at. I was like, man, I was trying to figure out like, where can we find like these perfect V1 patterns, right? So yeah, you just measure it from basically the low point. So basically whenever price kind of overextends, you can just measure if it gets to like 1,000 pips or 100 points. If you get a V1 pattern from that point, it's probably going to reverse on you. So like, for example, here, see where the top starts right here? Actually, the top's higher. It's like right here. I mean, it depends on where you want to identify the top. So if you identify the top from right there, I mean, it doesn't actually reach, because this is pre-market, so it's kind of slow. But if you guys want to go and take a look at that, or I'll just use that as part of our analysis. So for example, right here, price is coming back down. When it gets to that 1,000, or it's already at the 1,000. So if you get a V1 pattern here, it's probably going to come up at least 100 pips. I think there's a V1 right there, but it's getting close to news. So it's probably going to be considered risky, but We'll see. Yeah, it's a little too close to news right here, so I personally wouldn't have taken it, but I mean, we'll test it out and we'll see how this plays through right here. Not going to take the trade, guys. It's too close to news. I just want to mark this up. We'll just see what how my theory here plays out. So again, guys, just a heads up, I'm not taking this trade. We're just following it because we don't have a bias. So I can't really, if we had a bullish bias, then great, I would take the buy there, but we don't have a bias here at all. I want at least some sort of bias when I'm taking the V1. And there's also news like right here. So it's not exactly a safe area to trade in. Let's see if there's anything else here. All right, we got some more profits here from Kenny. Kenny took another trade, total profit of 4,275 for the day. Nice work, Kenny. And there goes that V1 right there. What did I say? Exactly what I said was going to happen, happened. So guys, when I see these patterns, I'm going to give you guys a heads up. Like I see this stuff like easily, like I don't have to really think about it. I just look at the chart and I'm like, okay, overextension. I see a V1 reversal pattern. V1's going to hit, and look what happened to hit. Now I feel kind of dumb because I should have taken that trade, but it's okay. There was news there, but yeah, so you guys can see, like, whenever I find stuff, like, my mind is always going, like, I'm always looking for these patterns. I'm always thinking of stuff. I'm looking for different ways to make money in the market. When I find something like this, I'll share with you guys because I'm not here to hide anything from you guys. And you know, if you guys are looking for V1 variations and you're just looking for something to like be almost a for sure hit, this is probably it. Like, you're probably not going to have very many V1s, but if you're looking for this specific type of entry, it's, you know, it's probably going to hit. Yeah, Daniel said, I think we trust your analysis more than you do. Yeah, you know, the thing with me is just I'm a little too careful. My analysis is good. It's just I always find these red flags, and that's another downfall to me identifying these entries, is because if there was no news here, I probably would have taken the trade, but because there was news there, I didn't want to take it. But there's another thing to it. So it's not just identifying the overextension, it's also the time of the overextension. So just keep that in mind, guys. There's other things here that kind of go through my head, but I don't necessarily think they're important criteria, but they do have relevance. So I did test it like a couple days back, and there was a loss, but it was only because it was 1,000 pips, but 1,000 pips happened in like 5 candles. Like, instead of this nice overextension right here, it kind of just happened within like 5 candles. So obviously when you see something like that, it's not really overextended. Price is just manipulated. So yeah, if you guys took that there, great. I think some of you guys did take it. Kenny here is up 4,275 for the day, all wins. The great work right there, Kenny. Let's see, we got Natasha over here. Total profit of 780 for the day, all wins as well. Kenny right there, 4,000. So I'm just talking to Nick. All right. Yeah. So let's see what sorry guys, I just got like a lot of okay, sorry guys, I'm just going through a bunch of different messages here. Nick's kind of talking to me because the YouTube stuff is not supposed to be public right now, but I didn't make it private, I just made it unlisted. So I think because it's unlisted, the people who are actually following still have access to the YouTube. But it's okay, I don't mind that. My whole reason for taking down the YouTube public stream is to keep out the random trolls from the group. You know, we get random trolls all the time, and it's just a waste of energy for us to like deal with them. So that's the main reason why I only go public on the YouTube like maybe once a week. So sorry guys, just got a little sidetracked right there, but it's okay because there's no entries for us to take here anyways. I just marked up news right there. I'm gonna go ahead and leave the V1 strategy up here. And we'll keep looking for any possible entries. I don't think there's any possible entries for liquidity over here. The only thing we could possibly look for would be a V1 variation, but we would have to look for a double body. Yeah, so CSUK said the concern is very fair considering it's Trap Tuesday, but it's been a mellow one today. Yeah, exactly, CSUK. I think the Trap Tuesday move happened right here on open, and then after that, it's become a lot more mellow. The traps kind of like settled. It looks like they pretty much trapped a lot of people who took the buys here, stopped them out, and now the volatility is down because a lot of people are just down and out at the moment. Daniel's asking if the 701 is a continuation pattern we talked about. Let me see. So, I mean, you would have to have the bias, like you mentioned. Since there's no bias, there wouldn't be a continuation. But yeah, I mean, there wouldn't be a continuation at all because you wouldn't know where the continuation would be. The continuation would have to go in the direction of the bias, so you wouldn't know which direction would be continuation. I mean, I guess you can consider. Well, I mean, it would probably be a buy because if you're looking at just the 1 minute, you'd have to look for buy V1s, right? Because if it's a continuation, you're going the direction of trend, direction of bias. So if you're looking at just the 1 minute here, the bias is actually, well, the trend is actually bullish because price is above the pivot, trend meter is green. So if you are looking for a continuation, it would actually be the one that we took here at 658. The one over here at 7, that would be a sell. There's no bias, there's no trend in that direction, so it's impossible for it to be continuation. You'd also need a buy signal here. So the continuation is just it's like literally what it's called. A continuation is just a continued move in the direction of momentum and trend. The V1 variation is not based off momentum, it's based off trend and momentum. So you have to be trading that direction. So like say, for example, over here, this right here would be a continuation, Daniel. Because price is bullish, you had a bullish momentum, you had a V1, basically a double body right there. If that was a low, that'd be a continuation. But this right here, just there's nothing there because price is basically sideways. There's no bias. And that's why it's difficult to apply that unless you have a bias, because you need to have a certain direction to look for. Let's see, CJ said, I know you always say you're too cautious, but your cautiousness helped me to not blow accounts. Yeah, exactly, CJ. So the thing with trading, guys, in my opinion, I think it's more important to know when to avoid losses than to identify wins, right? Because the way that we trade here is that we trade with a negative risk to reward. So the importance is really placed on not losing trades, because if you don't lose trades and you keep having a bunch of wins, your profit's just going to keep adding up and it's going to keep stacking. So that's why for me, I'm a little more cautious, because the thing is, yeah, I could have like 2 wins here, but if I have a loss, I'm going to be in the negative, right? Because we're doing like a 3-to-1 risk to reward. So for me personally, I'd rather not have so many trades and then just have these very quality trades so that I just have a bunch of wins and 0 losses at the end of the week. So again, that goes hand in hand why I'm very cautious, because I'd rather have no losses rather than have, 2 wins and then 1 loss, and then I'm still in the negative because we're trading at a negative risk to reward. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. If it doesn't, it will make sense to you eventually. That's the only way that you'll find consistency, being able to know when not to trade. So let me scroll down a little further. Yeah, no problem, Daniel. Maria said it was a double body too. So at this point, Maria, there would be no more that analysis that I just gave you guys with the 1,000 pip move. There's no more opportunity for that. If price is overextended and you've already hit that V1 variation. So for example, right here, price is overextended, right? You already hit the V1 there for a buy. That's it. You can't apply this no more because the overextension has already stopped, right? You can't just keep having overextension after overextension. You have like one there. And then say, for example, price now goes up, right? If price goes back up from this point, then it starts over. It starts from this point, you go to that 1,000 mark, and then you can look from it over there. That's how you would apply that explanation of the overextension. Let's see, Maria said, no, it was at the 7 o'clock candle. Oh, you're talking about this one. Okay. Yeah. No. Well, yeah, it's a double body V1 pattern, but it's not it can't really be a V1 because there's no bias. But yeah, you are right. That was a double body V1 pattern. I was just using the explanation for what I just explained earlier. I thought you saw another entry that went in the same direction. But I just want to clear that up so that you guys understand. When you guys are looking at using that theory that I just mentioned, the overextension, you can only use it once. You can't use it twice. Like even if price goes like 2,000 pips out, because what you're looking for is you're just looking for that small inconsistency in the market, so that price will retrace back up, and it'll give you enough movement to get your quick 100 pips. That's all you're looking for. You're looking for these inconsistencies in the market. But yeah, definitely. Thanks, Maria, for clarifying that. Other than that, there's just nothing for us to take right now, guys. Let me go and take a look at the overall bias again, see if there's any difference here. So retail sentiment is now at 53% short. It's still very minimal. 53% short, not really useful for us right now. Fundamental bias is currently 35 points in the green. So it's not, it's still neutral. There's nothing there. It's just getting worse. Technical bias, let's take a look at the short term. Short term still neutral. You can see prices in between, not really doing too much. Long term over here, price is still pretty neutral on the 30-minute. However, the 1 hour here is still neutral and the 4 hour is still bearish. So with that said, nothing has changed. Retail sentiment is neutral, fundamental bias is neutral, short-term technical is neutral, long-term technical is bearish neutral. So with that said, not really much we can do here. Price is just going sideways for now. Let's go here to the clean chart, make a few adjustments. Yeah, you guys can see here, price is like literally going sideways. Nothing for us to see here necessarily. So let's see if there's anything else over here. I think that's it. So yeah, if you guys have more profits to post up, feel free to send them in. Otherwise, there's nothing going on here. Price is going sideways. The thing to look out for here is the breakout. So as price goes sideways right here, one of two things are going to happen. Price is going to break out to the upside or it's going to break out to the downside. If price does break out to the downside, then price is likely to come down and retest the opening price down here. That's where I probably see it happening. But there's just no bias. So right now I'm just being a little more cautious. Like I mentioned, there's nothing for me to take right now. If I see something good, I'll let you guys know, but there's just nothing for us to take right now. Unfortunately, this is a summer market. So this is what we were alluding to earlier this month and last month as well. This is a summer market where you'll get some like movement during news. And then when news is done, price just goes sideways for a very long time. So We just gotta wait and be patient here. Got some profits here from Gion. Gion's currently at 1,540 for the day, all wins. Nice work, Gion. Solid move right there. Sorry guys, that's my that is my messenger. I'm not entering any trades here. I know sometimes you guys hear my messenger make that noise and you guys think I'm entering a trade, but I'm not. That's just my my Apple Messenger. All right, so price is pushing out of this area. I wouldn't necessarily chase this. I'd probably look for a break and retest pattern of this area. Let's see. Actually, so lately what I've been doing, and you can see here that I drew these zones. It's not really as clear here on the 1 minute, but if you go on the higher time frames, whenever price retests, like you see price retest an area, if it breaks through, it's usually going to keep pushing that direction. The 1 minute's not very reliable though, so I don't like looking at the 1 minute for these zones. I just use this for the markup. But so typically, you know, if we have liquidity sitting right there, I would use something like, let me see if I could find an example here. Nothing really here on the. Yeah, I was just trying to find an example here, but I don't really see anything here. Well, not today specifically. But yeah, you know, usually I'll mark up, and you guys have seen it before. I marked up like support resistance, and then typically if I see that support resistance getting retested a second time or a third time, then I'm looking at it as either a bounce or I'm looking at it to break through. Right here would be the breakthrough. As I mentioned, the 1 minute's not very reliable or strong, so it's kind of hard to tell here because this liquidity wouldn't be used anyways. But say if we were on a higher time frame and you had price test that area like 1, 2, and say for example this would be a third time. If that was the case, then I would have been like, all right, if this is the case here, I'm expecting some blast right through. But it's the 1 minute, so it's not very strong. If this was like the 1 hour time frame, then that's something I would do. Like for example, here that's why I mark up stuff like this. So it's tested it twice. So like now here on the 1 hour, let me just show you guys real quick. So you can see over here it's tested it once, twice. If this thing retraces back down a little bit and comes back up, then I'd expect it to break through and identify this as liquidity. But basically this top level right here. I mean, that's so useful. It's more useful in the higher time frames. The 1 minute, there's just too much noise on there. The 1 minute's good for looking for actual entries, but marking up zones and stuff, it's not as useful as using the higher time frames. All right, so I'm hoping we get some sort of bias, you know, in the next couple minutes or so, because if not, it's going to be tough for us to look for some entries. Here we go. As price pushes back up a bit higher. That's a clean chart. I mean, price might just come up and retest that upper area. But again, I'm just being a little cautious with these entries here. Let me see if there's any other news today. I don't think there is anything today here. Actually, there's more news at 7:30. So you want to be a little careful again here. They have Dallas Fed Services Revenue Index. I know it's low impact, but it can still affect the market. And we have Dallas Fed Services Index right after. And on top of that, we have New York Fed Treasury purchases. So I'm just going to mark that up on the chart over here. Some more news. Some more news here at 7:30. See, Madhu said, oh, Rashida said there's a momentum scalp that just hit. Madhu mentioned that last momentum was a double confluence. I think trend leaders blue. Yeah, so you guys can see even like Rashida can notice it, and Maddie's noticed it, and Gion's noticed it. You know, the trend meter down below hasn't been very consistent. It's kind of going back and forth a lot. And again, that's another thing to just be a little careful for, because I mean, the trades will probably hit. Like, you know, my strategies are in the direction of a bias. So again, that's the reason why I use a bias. So if you guys remember when I mentioned this before, the reason why I trade in the direction of a bias is because you can make a mistake. Like, say, for example, right here, you're looking for a momentum scalp and it turns blue. Even if you made a mistake like that, the trade still hits, right? Because you have some sort of direction. Like, you're not taking a trade and just like praying that it goes in your direction. The thing is, you already know price is going to go in that direction. So when you do take a trade, even if it's a mistake, it's probably going to hit your TP. And that's why a lot of people, like in the group, like initially, a lot of people in the group, they like the strategy because they like the strategies that we apply here initially, because they'll make a lot of mistakes and the trade will still hit, right? Like, they'll take a pivot scalp, like, you know, CJ just mentioned, or they'll take a V1 variation and they don't confirm the bias, but the trade will still hit. It'll go in its direction. But then when they start losing, they start thinking the strategy doesn't work, but realistically, they never understood the strategy correctly to begin with. So just keep that in mind, guys. Like, if you guys are starting to lose trades, make sure that you guys are actually applying the strategy properly, because a lot of the times, a lot of people are just not even confirming the bias. And if you would confirm the bias, like, your odds of winning that trade go up tremendously. Like, you might have like maybe a 60% chance of hitting if you're not using the bias. But if you start using the bias, your win rate's going to go up like 60. It's going to go from like 60 to like 80 to like 90%, because like I mentioned, you know, you can make a mistake, but if you have the direction of bias, you'll still be able to win those trades no matter what. So just keep that in mind, guys, when you guys are applying these entries, because it's just a bit. Damn, Maddie. So Maddie just passed another challenge. That's crazy. Maddie just messaged me. He was like, yo, check my Telegram message. Dude, Maddie just did another 100K account and he just passed another 100K. So Maddie has like 3 accounts now in like 2 weeks. That's crazy. Nice work, Maddie. Yeah, Maddie had all wins. 4,000 for the day. Nice work, Maddie. Yeah, so Maddie has basically three funded accounts now. Nice work, Maddie. Yeah, so you guys can see, like, you know, the consistency here. If you just like follow directions, like Maddie's been working closely with me every day. He's been helping me with the 1 hour strategy. I even created a text group with him. Like Maddie talks to me probably more than I talk to anybody else. And Maddie's just killed it. He has 3 funded accounts now, almost, or about to be. And it is, I mean, it's crazy. So nice work, Maddie. Congrats to you with that extra 100K account. I think Maddie has, I don't know how much you have in funding now, Maddie, but I know you have like maybe 2 100Ks and then 150K, right? So that's 250. You can add on another 150. So solid. All right, great work, Maddie. Yeah, Maddie said 2 accounts in 1 week. Yeah, because all he's been doing has been helping me. And he just listens to everything that I tell him to do, and he's been passing. So, gotcha. Okay, yeah, Maddie said he has 2 50K accounts and 2 100K accounts. So Maddie actually has 4 accounts now, a total of 200K. So now you just need to get 1 more 200K account, Maddie, and you'll have full funding. You'll have the max allocation. So nice work, Maddie. Daniel's asking, which company is that? Never seen that symbol. This is FTMO. Daniel, it's the same one that we all use. .cash. That's the same one I use too. Same thing. .cash. Oh, this is just it's just the full account. So it's just the main account, not the actual trade. Yeah. This is how it looks like. If you click on your MC4 and you click on trade, this is what yours will look like. It just shows the totals there. I know it might be some confusion. It's all good. But all right, so other than that, let me see if there's anything else here that I'm looking at. Natasha here locked in another profit off the analysis there. She took a quick buy from what we discussed. Total profit of 1,112 for the day. Nice work, Natasha. So I'm glad to see a lot of you guys here profiting. I didn't take anything today, so I don't have anything to show for myself. My account's pretty much just empty. But I'm glad to see a lot of you guys here. You guys are just taking trades off my analysis and it's working out perfectly. So here's the thing with Maddie. The thing with Maddie, the reason why he's passing every challenge is because he's taking every trade without really overthinking it. So yesterday and the day before that and the day before that, Maddie would ask me like, how does this trade look? And I told him, oh, it looks risky. I don't know if I would take it. And he's like, oh, I'm going to take it anyways, just on my account to test it out. He took the trade and then they all hit. So the thing is just really trusting the strategy. Maddie, what he did was he just dropped his ego. He was like, whatever, I'm gonna take every trade that Sean tells me about, and that's it, right? He's just gonna take it. And he passes the challenge within like 2 days because he just takes every trade and listens to every analysis and it plays through. So just keep that in mind, guys. If you guys just listen to the analysis and if you guys just follow my direction, if I say not to take a trade, don't take it. If I say I think this is an okay trade or it might be good, then take it. And if you just get out of your head and you just listen to my analysis, you guys can easily pass and win trades back to back to back. So nice work, Maddie. Other than that, there's still nothing for us to really look at right now, guys. I'm kind of frustrated, but it's okay. I mean, it's okay to get frustrated with trading. I was just hoping we get some sort of bias here, but there's still no bias. Still 53% short. The thing with this is that this is typical for summer, and it's okay because this is like the first week of actual summer trading. So we're going to get used to it. We're going to get used to the market just being kind of slow. And then eventually it'll start to pick back up. There's going to be like a lot of days during the week where the market's just going to be flat. Like for example, today, the market's not really doing too much. It's moving, but there's not really much of a direction here, right? So what we have to do is just we have to be able to remain calm and cool during these types of conditions, so that tomorrow when the market's back and moving up again, we're going to be able to capitalize on those moves. So realistically, this is normal, and it's okay to get frustrated because the thing is, I'm just getting a little FOMO because I'm seeing everybody's profits, but it's all good. Like I said before, guys, the FOMO doesn't go away. You just get better at controlling it. But no, I'm happy for Maddie. Maddie got 2 funded accounts or he passed 2 challenges within 1 week, which is crazy. So guys, if Maddie can do it, I mean, if you want to like get a real raw response, just ask Maddie how he did it, and he'll tell you. He just followed directions. I mean, it's as easy as that. But again, it's easier said than done. Slava said, I remember my first 2 challenges, I passed them without thinking, just listening to Sean. Yeah, exactly. Maddie said, I just listened to my mentors. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, exactly. Nick said, just got to stay vigilant, preserve your account. I agree with you, Nick, 100%. All right. So other than that, there's just nothing for us to take right now, guys, unfortunately. Looking over here on the higher time frames, price is a bit bullish now. So we'll go ahead and just switch that to bullish neutral. Long term is still, I mean, it's more on the neutral side now. So the 30-minute is kind of bullish. The 1 hour is neutral, and the 4 hour is still bearish. So on the higher time frames over here, this is bullish, this is neutral, and this is bearish. So with that said, it's just completely neutral now, but no bias at the moment. Yeah, Maddie said the funny thing is that he was actually trying to take his time, like take the full month to pass. But, luckily Maddie just hit his stride with us, with me directly. and he was able to pass right away. I mean, I've been having a pretty great week so far too. So, or a pretty great 2 weeks so far now. So that's why I'm a little more cautious with my entries because I don't want to throw away profits. I feel like that's like the worst feeling when you guys when you guys have gotten so much, like you built your account so high, and then you take a stupid trade, and then you end up losing majority of your profits, and you're almost back to break even. So just keep that in mind. Look, keep the long-term goal in mind whenever you guys are trading. Yeah, Maddie said that he read Trading in the Zone and then he applied it to his trading. Yeah, exactly. It's an amazing book, just like Slava said. All right, guys. So if there's any questions that you guys have, if there's anything that you want me to cover, just let me know. Unfortunately, there's no entries for us to take here at the moment. We do have news coming up right here at 7:30, so I expect some volatility to come up in the next, minute or so. But right now, specifically, there is just nothing to take, and there's nothing really going on for the most part. So, yeah, and you can see over here, you can see the market structure on the clean chart that I drew up. Prices are only doing too much. Price is getting close to that upper liquidity though. It's not there yet, but it is getting closer to it. Kind of wish I took that liquidity earlier, or even one of those V1 variations. So I think that's going to be something that I'll be looking at now in the future, guys. Now I'll be marking up liquidity, like overextension. And if I think price is like for example, right here, price is not overextended yet. When price does get to this point, it's going to be overextended in my opinion. And then I think you can take a V1 or any type of V1 pattern in the opposite direction. So just something to keep in mind. And I'll keep looking at V1 variations. I mean, if anything, maybe that's going to be something that we can incorporate into like a special V1 variation that's just only applied when price is overextended. So we'll see. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Nick, I agree with you 100%. So it's really just the key thing is just being consistent. Because the last thing you want to do is make one small mistake and then it just ends up being the end of your account. And I've seen that happen to a lot of people, including myself. There's been a time where I've revenge traded and I went down to like nearly almost max drawdown for the day. So on a 200K account, max drawdown is 10,000 for the day. I got down to like, I think like 9,800. But then luckily, like the next couple of days after that, I just had straight win. So I made it right back plus profit. But it is a worse feeling when you get that close to like losing your account and you feel like kind of hopeless. And then you know that you made that mistake. It only happened because you made like a dumb mistake. But it's all good. You learn from it. As long as you learn from it, that's the key thing. All right, we got some more profits over here from Dave. Dave said, another day. Thank you for your analysis. Dave over here locked in a total profit of 56.63. There goes Dave's first account. Here goes Dave's second account, total profit of 56.63 here. And then here goes Dave's third account, total profit of 109 for the day. Nice work, Dave. Yeah, solid profits right there. Straight wins. What's CC doing over here? CC, are you at the beach right now? And you're here on the live session. What are you doing? CC is here. I think those are old pictures. I was like, C6 at the beach right now, trading with us. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. It's 3 hours ahead over there. So it's like 10. All right, so still nothing for us to take here right now. Still looking for something. Yeah, Kenneth said this hits too close to home. LOL, blown accounts because I forgot about max loss. Yeah, no, that happens with a lot of people too. So that's why for me, guys, whenever I have a loss when I'm trading, I'm usually done for the day because I never want to get close to my max daily loss. And that's why I try not to hold trades overnight, or I try not to really trade during the Asia session unless I'm testing something like we're doing right now. Yeah, I mean, that's like one of the killing things with funded accounts and challenges is that people forget about the daily drawdown or the max drawdown. And it's easy for them to just get destroyed because, you know, you really never know when it's going to backfire on you. So I always give myself, whenever you guys trade, try to give yourself like a max loss for the day. Like for me, the max loss for the day for me would be 8,000. If I lose 8,000 for the day, then I'm done. You know, it's time for me to reset. It's time for me, because the thing is, if I lose 8,000, that's fine because I can make it back in a couple trades. But if you lose more than that, you get really close to blowing your account, at least for the daily drawdown. All right, so I think price is a bit overextended now. Let's see. Yeah, it's definitely overextended now. So I would probably look for I mean, not necessarily, I wouldn't really recommend it, but I'll follow it and we'll just keep testing what I just showed you guys today. If you see a V1 pattern, not necessarily a V1 variation, because there's no bias right now, but if you see a V1 pattern like a double body or a double wick, odds of it coming down are very likely. It's probably gonna come down at least 100 pips. I wouldn't bank on anything higher than 100 pips, but if it does happen, it'll probably come down at least 100 pips. So it's something to look out for. Nice. Johnny said he took a V1 at 730 over here. Solid, that double body. Yeah, I mean, it's starting to shift a little bit. So like for today's overall bias, we don't have a strong overall bias, but Johnny was okay with taking the buy there because the short-term bias is still bullish. So if we're looking, because the bias has to be one way or another, it can't just be flat neutral. It's going to be either slightly bullish or slightly bearish. Right now, it's slightly bullish. So, and there goes that pattern that I just showed you guys. I don't know if it just hit. I wasn't even paying attention. Yeah, it went to full TP. So check that out, guys. V1 variation right there. Full TP. We're not a V1 variation, but the pattern. It played out perfect, right? So I'm always finding out these little inconsistencies in the market. I'm not sure if anybody caught that, but that's exactly what I just mentioned to you guys. Price was overextended, 1,000 pips, right? First double body right there, full TP. I should have taken this trade, but I wasn't even looking. But it would have been a red flag, so I probably wouldn't have taken it. Like the problem here is these red flags, right? I think me and CJ just mentioned this earlier this morning too. The session was right there, so it's a bit risky because this area is an area of manipulation, but you can see that right there played out perfect. Rick took the one that Johnny took as well. Nice. So all you guys here are kind of paying attention, so that's good. I mean, the bias right now is still somewhat bullish. So if this would be an actual V1 variation right here, just not a very strong one. Maddie said he took a triple confluence as well. Nice. So so guys, there's a ton of entries that are coming up here. They're just different strategies. So there's a triple confluence that came up right here. This candle broken close past the pivots. That was a high-low scalp. The trend was green below, so that was a pivot scalp, intraday scalp. And this right here would be considered a triple confluence. So there's actually multiple entries that came up here. So there was one right here that I mentioned. It was a V1 pattern, just an overextension of price. Over here on the bottom, this is one that Rick and Johnny took. That was a V1 variation. And then Maddie took one more over here, which was a triple confluence. So 3 strategies back to back, and they all hit full TP. So this is the power of knowing my strategies. I can't believe I missed every single one of them, but it's all good. I'm glad to see some of you guys here still took it. Yeah, today's just not my day in the market. I'm like, you guys are spotting more entries than I am, but there was basically 3 entries that came up. V1 variation down here, triple confluence, and the V1 I guess we could call that like an overextended V1. Maybe I'll create that into a strategy, but we can probably call that like so couple names. It can be overextended V1, or it can be a V1 pullback. I mean, there's a lot of different names. I'll figure it out. I think overextended V1 price sounds better because that's kind of what you're looking for. You're looking for an overextension in price, and then you're looking for a V1 pattern following it. Yeah, no, definitely. Thanks, Maddie. Yeah, Maddie said discipline is amazing, Sean. Yeah. Because there's so many opportunities here where I can FOMO into a trade, but I'm just not. And that's what comes with experience, guys. So if you guys have been trading for a long time, you don't really get FOMO like normal people do. Like I get FOMO and I kind of wish I was in a position, but I don't necessarily I don't regret it. I'm not really upset about it. Does kind of sucks. I do want to take at least one trade, but I'm not going to force anything here. All right, so let's check the bias. And I just want to make sure the bias is. So the fundamentals are actually pretty bullish right now. Not super strong, but they are bullish. Let's say it's 100 points. I might have to make some adjustments here. All right, perfect, Maddie. Yeah, no, that works. Yeah, we can do that. You do that on Monday. No, I'm sure there will be. It always is, especially on Monday. That's like the day before 4th of July. All right, you're gonna go do some Pilates, Maddie. Do some Pilates and get ready. All right, guys. So let's see. We don't have anything to take right here, guys. I'm gonna see if we can find something else, but at the moment, it just does not look like there's anything for us to take here at the moment. The overextension already played out. There is price is like right at the sessions over here. So if anything, it's gonna be in the middle of red flags. But all right, Maddie, I'll see you back here tomorrow, bro. So Maddie's gonna log off. Maddie's done for the day. Got some more profits over here from Patrick Stevens. Patrick said recovered from the loss and still ended up in the blue. He's out of this market. Yeah, so Patrick Stevens over here took a loss right here, unfortunately, but he made it right back. So he's in profit, a total profit of 2,416 for the day. Nice work, Patrick. Definitely. Solid work there. We have Natasha over here, total profit of 1,400 for the day, all wins. So solid work right there, Natasha. I'll get to your question a little later, Nick. Let's see, Rashida said we can get a momentum scalp after the retracement. Yeah, no, I can see that happening too, Rashida. I'm just kind of hoping that it doesn't push too far down below because then it'll be stuck around this area where all these red flags are. It might be the case because it's going to be tough to get away from here. It's kind of far off. So what I would like to see, a little bit of a farther push up, so you get that retracement, like you mentioned, and continuation. But it's fine. If it pulls down to here, it's just going to be a little more risky because obviously the red flag. You guys can see that price is kind of going sideways right here. It's pretty much just so you guys can see how it's like the same exact pattern, right? This and this right here. So you guys can see how much it's tested this area. I think if it comes back another time, it's going to blast right through it. Yeah, for sure. So check this out right here, guys. There's a double top right there. Big wick, big wick. I think now when price comes back up to this area, if it closes above this area right here, it's going to hit liquidity. I think there's an area of liquidity sitting right here. And if that becomes the case, it's going to just blast right through. And I don't know why TradingView, like, I feel like TradingView is kind of messed up right now with the scale button, because somebody else in the group asked me why is there no auto button right here. For some reason, these charts have the auto button, but this one doesn't. I'm gonna have to just reset this chart. It's kind of annoying having to make adjustments. But yeah, price is coming back down right now where it's currently at. There's probably going to be some V1 variations that are going to come up around this area, but the problem with this is that it's got the red flag. So like, for example, if you get a V1 variation down here, it's technically not going to be an entry that you can necessarily take because of the red flags. If you guys are not familiar with the red flags, I'll put them up right here. I mean, it's pretty simple. It's just basically these horizontal lines. Hey, what's up, T? How's it going? Yeah, so basically like what I mentioned earlier, guys, we're probably gonna get a V1 variation somewhere around here, but we probably won't be able to take it because it's going to be right between the red flags. Red flags are basically any of these horizontal lines: purple line, green line, pink line, red line, and purple line down here. The purple line is going to be the Asia high low. So it's basically the Asia high and low price. Green line is going to be the New York high low from yesterday. The red line is going to be the London high low. Pink line is going to be news price. And the blue line way down below is going to be New York open price. So as you guys can see, a lot of red flags, not really anything that we can mess with here because it's just a bit of a mess. Unfortunately, it's not a safe area to be trading in. So, but we'll see. I mean, if I see something good here, I'll mark it up for you guys. But knowing myself, probably gonna be a bit more careful with the entries that I decide to take, especially since I've been very careful throughout the entire session already. But yeah, guys, if there's any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I'm here to help you guys out with whatever you guys need help with. But for the most part, it looks like I don't think liquidity up here is going to get hit from now until 8. We have about 15 minutes till 8. As you guys can see, liquidity is sitting right up there. It's all low level liquidity too. But I think when it does hit, it'll probably push through. The reason for that is because we have this area right here that I marked up earlier. So I think if price does push past this point, it's probably going to push up to that level of liquidity. Price is pushing up right now. But I don't know if it'll have that push to really make it past it by 8 o'clock. Because at that point right now, this is basically a triple top now. There's a double top that happened right there. This would now be the triple test. So right here, price will either bounce off it or will break through and continue pushing up higher. My guess is that if it breaks through, it's going to keep pushing up higher. It's going to hit liquidity up here and it's just going to blast right through. The actual liquidity is kind of far from it though. So we'll see. We'll see where this goes. All right, price is pushing a bit higher. There goes that momentum scalp that you were looking for, Rashida. Price is actually pushing up a little higher. But this area right here is just kind of, it's not really a good area to trade. Like if price was to break out of here, like if I got that buy signal outside of the zone, Rashida, then I'd be solid. But yeah, you can see how the candles are getting a little weak. Because it's just not a good area to trade in right here. Stuck at that triple top. Yeah, it's not a good area. If it was a break past and you got that buy signal to the top side, then I think that'd be solid because it would hit liquidity and you just have a straight push to the upside. Right now, it's just, I think what's going to happen here is that price will just go sideways for the next couple minutes, right, till 8 o'clock. And then at 8 o'clock, price will probably start moving a little more. But yeah, right now it's just not I think the volatility is just going to be flat from now until 8. So yeah, guys, if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat and I'll answer whatever you guys need help with. But unfortunately, today is just one of those days where the market was just very unpredictable. It's Trap Tuesday. My analysis played out, but I didn't take any of the trades, unfortunately. I was just being a little too cautious. All right, last entry over here from Natasha. She took a quick scalp for a quick $100. Total profit of 1,500 for the day, all wins. So nice work right there, Natasha. And we have Maria over here. She said accidental loss, recovery, and a partial win. Nice work, Maria. So great recovery right there. She had an accidental loss right there. Looks like she took the trade a little too early on open, and then she got kicked out of the trade. And then she made it right back in the second trade. And then she took the third trade over here for a full TP. So nice work right there, Maria. The key thing is that you closed out the day in profit. You didn't give up and you kept pushing through. So nice work right there, Maria. We have Johnny over here, total profit of 880 for the day, all wins. So it looks like a lot of you guys here just took trades off my analysis. You know, we identified a lot of speculative trades today. As I introduced to you guys, the overextended V1, that works very well. We're going to keep using that moving forward. I'll keep testing it. I haven't really tested it enough, but it does work well in pretty much, I mean, all conditions. If it's overextended, it's probably going to come back down at some point. So we'll see. But yeah, that momentum scalp that she'd been waiting for, she hasn't came up. It's been like 5 minutes now. I think initially it came up on this candle, this candle, this candle. There's a pending one on this one, but I don't think it's going to close. But yeah, looking at the chart over here, it's stuck in this whole area right here, which is going to be considered a resistance. So like one of two things will happen here. Price will either bounce off or keep bouncing off, or it'll break through. And if it gets up here, then it'll probably push up higher because there's going to be more liquidity sitting up top. So you can see over here, price is it's pretty close to the area of liquidity right there. It's getting close to it. It's just not there yet. But if you guys are looking to take this area of liquidity, this is what you want to happen. You actually want price to go sideways like this. You want it to get closer, sideways further, and then blast through. So where it's at. Yeah, Rashida also mentioned that she sees a sell order block there where it's rejecting from. So if there's an order block there, I think this thing will blast right through then. I don't like order blocks, so I like when order blocks don't work. So, but now that you mentioned that, I'm actually banking on it blasting right through the order block. I don't like supply and demand order block. I like seeing when order blocks and supply and demand fail. And since you mentioned that, I'm expecting to blast right through it at this point. So all right, price is going through it right now. It's getting past it right here. So if price gets to this area right here, that order block that like Rashida mentioned, I think it's going to fail and it's just going to get right through. But again, you have to wait for it to get to this point. And that's good. So that's the benefit of having Rashida here in the group, because she trades order blocks or she identifies them. And I like knowing where order blocks are, so I know where to go opposite. Because the thing is, a lot of people trade order blocks, a lot of people trade supply and demand. So typically I'm looking to do the opposite of everybody else. If everybody's looking for that there and they think price is going to bounce off the area, I'm actually looking for price to do the opposite and stop them all out. The only problem here is that we don't have really much of a bias. If we had a strong bias for, like, say, a buy, then I would be very confident that price will blast through. The problem with it here is that there's not really much of a bias, right? I mean, there's a little bit of a bias, but it's not super strong. It's 55% short. Like, we need this to be higher, like 65%. If we had that and I saw an order block on the top side, then I would just trade against it. Because I would expect price to just blast right through. But you can see right here that the market's moving kind of slow. I think what they're doing here is they're trying to turn people in. So like Rashida mentioned, there's an order block at that point. I think they're trying to lure in some sellers right here. As soon as there's enough sellers at this point, then they're just going to blast through and stop them all out. Because if everybody's looking at the same thing, that's the way that market makers here are going to make money. So yeah, thanks for the heads up, Rashida, with that identification of the order block. So what I would look out for here, guys, is look for price. Like, if you're looking to to go against the order block, like I mentioned, just look for price to inch up from where it's currently at. Like kind of do what I just marked up right here, right? Look for it to inch up a little bit, because this is kind of what I see happening. If people think there's an order block up here, I think people will try to sell, it'll come down a little bit. It'll do something like this, then it'll come back up, then it'll do it again. And then when you least expect it, it's going to blast right through, because whoever's trying to sell off the order block right here that that Rashida mentioned, they're just going to keep stacking sells, and they're just going to keep trying to push price down. But you know, there's not enough retail traders to push price down like that. The market makers are still in control, so it'll just let people stack up their sells here, push up a little bit to scare them, push it down a little bit, and then stop them all out. So I'm just looking at things from a logical perspective. You know, thinking about what the market makers would do. How would they make money to stop these people out? They can't just push price all the way up, or then people will stop trading that strategy, right? So I think that's the thing with like a lot of these strategies that people apply. They kind of rotate. Sometimes these strategies work, sometimes they don't. Because the market makers don't necessarily want to 100% knock out a strategy. Because if they knock out like certain strategies and people stop applying them, then the market makers won't be able to do the opposite of them, right? Because they're not going to know what strategy everybody's applying. So here goes, price pushes back up. It's a really slow push to the upside, but you know, if you keep trading after the live session, because we're going to get off soon, guys. It's already 7:55. If you guys keep trading past that, then just keep an eye out for this area of liquidity. Because if price does get to that point, I think it's going to stop everybody out. I can already see a lot of stop losses getting placed around this area, because, so say for example, and this is what you see a lot of people do, right? They'll enter a sell right there. They'll place their stop loss like slightly above it, like maybe somewhere like that. And this is what their trade looks like, right? Everybody does that. So what happens? Like, so for example, here I can see people who are trading the order block. What they did is their stop loss was a little tight right there. They already got stopped out, right? What happened right here? They re-entered for another entry. And they just keep doing the same thing. They keep trying to enter right there. And then price spikes up and it stops them out again. And then what happens here? They enter a third time. And at that time, price now for sure blasts right through and stops everybody out. So, and the reason why I can see that people got stopped out initially was because of this right here. So this little spike to the outside right here stopped people out. Then it's coming back up. If it goes past this level right here, it's going to stop more people out. And then it's just going to keep doing that. Slava said, thanks, Sean, for the session. See you tomorrow. And to others, trade safe. Yeah, definitely, Slava. All right, guys, it's getting close to 8 o'clock. If there's any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, we're going to wrap this up for the day. Unfortunately, there was no official trades that we could have taken today. I did give you guys a couple of speculative trades regarding the overextended V1, a couple other V1s over here, V1 continuation. You know, there's just a bunch of entries that we identified, and the liquidity this morning, if anybody took it on open. I didn't take it because there was news this morning, and then just the confluences didn't line up with the buy for me personally. That's why I didn't want to take it. And I thought it was risky. So for me personally, I just avoided it. I probably could have taken it, but I mean, it's all good. You know, there's no shoulda, woulda, coulda. I just didn't take it. So that's my bad. So yeah, if there's any other questions, guys, you know, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, we're going to wrap this up for the day, and we'll be back here tomorrow morning for the next live session. Tomorrow we have Powell speaking, like literally on market open. So you want to be a little careful. Again, I think this whole week we're going to be a little careful. We have Powell speaking over here at 6:30 a.m. We have crude oil inventories at 7:30. And that's pretty much what's going to take up majority of the session. So let's see. Let's see. Patricia said, Sean, hover over the A on your chart to get auto back. Let me see that. Where is it at, Patricia? The A. Yeah, that's what I thought too. I would have figured it'd be right here. I might just have to reset the chart. So I need to fix this chart because this is our liquidity chart. Actually, this isn't even our liquidity chart. What is this? This is our liquidity chart. I don't even know what this chart's for. I might just close this chart because it seems like an extra chart. I think I just opened that for the mentoring session. This is our clean chart though, so I do need to fix it for this. I'll figure it out outside after the live session, but yeah, this is our clean chart. I need to fix that because the auto button is very important for us here. This is our main chart, that was fine. This is our SR ejection chart, that's fine, it's still there too. Yeah, I don't know, I'll figure it out. But thanks, Patricia, for trying to help with that. All right, guys. So I think that's it for today. It's about to be 8 o'clock. So unfortunately, there's no entries for today. If you guys want to keep watching the charts, again, like I mentioned, maybe look out for this area here for those order block traders to get stopped out. And liquidity sitting up there too. But I'm not going to trade anymore from now. I'm probably just going to call the rest. I'm going to call today a day, and I'm not even going to trade at all. I'm not even going to take the 1 hour entries after the session. I just need a break from the charts. I've been on the charts so much for the past 2-3 weeks. I need to step away for at least 1 day and refresh and come back tomorrow. So, all right, guys. Other than that, have a great rest of your day. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, I will see you guys back